Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year is the first video I am filming in 2022. I've been putting off a lot of videos. I filmed some but I wasn't happy with how they turned out. But today's video will be about the books I read in 2021. We're almost done January 2022, so I'm a bit late on that trend. I won't be reviewing the books thoroughly. I'll just be showing them not in order that I read because I don't remember that, and I will try to review them out of 5 but not going into details. Also, sorry about the light. Sun is shining but it's going down, so hopefully the light doesn't change too much. So 2021 for me, really the year I started reading more. It was my New Year's resolution and I'm so happy I stuck with it. My goal was to read 12 books, so one for each month. But turns out I think I read 17 or 18. But the first book I have right here is Genuine Fraud by Lockhart. I've put a 3 stars out of 5. And the reason is because it is a good story, but I feel like the ending wasn't as satisfying as it could have been. I wish they explored the characters a bit better, but it's kind of a mystery slash life-ish type of deal, and it's about this girl that lives her life and she's not really who she says she is. So you'll get to read that in the book. And the second book I have right here is none other than The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. So this one has a lot of hype on TikTok, and it's also a really slow-paced book. I feel like it's one of different genre than what I expected. So it's about this girl called Addie LaRue that people seem to forget about. Like every time she meets someone new, they forget who she was. And you kind of follow her life. I won't explain too much. So I rated it 3 stars, which might come off as unpopular opinion, but I just feel like people enjoyed the book, but because of its ending. So throughout the whole book, it's more character driven than a plot line. So maybe that's why I didn't enjoy it. Maybe if I reread it. I have another book that is not really popular, and those types of books I get from Book Outlet. It's a Canadian website which have like discounted books. I'm not sponsored, I wish though. But yeah, if you want like to find new reads at an affordable price, I would really recommend going there. But the third book I have is The Man He Never Was by James L. Rupert. About Amanda has anger issues, I believe, and he comes back after he was supposedly dead. So that's the whole premise of it, and he's trying to be better and go back to his old life. I really enjoyed some aspects of the book, but I rated it as a 2 star, which is a bit low. But I enjoyed the story, but I feel like again it could have been so much more, and the way they brought it up, I feel like it was too centered about Christianity, religion, but I feel like it wasn't necessary, and it kind of like just put the story into like this type of preachy book, which wasn't what I want from a fiction book. And I think they could have still kept that religion aspect, or like finding a different thing to focus on to better yourself without sounding like preachy. The next book is actually one that is also really popular on Book Talk, so Book TikTok, and it is none other than Beach Read by Emily Henry. And that was one of the first romance books that I've read. And next month, so February 2022, I'm planning on only reading romance books. So hopefully one can compare. So if you guys didn't know, Beach Read is actually about this girl that goes to her beach house and she's a writer, so she goes there to write her novel because she's in a slump. And she meets this guy, which there's some history. He's so cute. It's such a cute story. There's a small spicy scene, I believe, but honestly really enjoyable and fast to read. Yeah, so I definitely recommend this one. By the same author, I also have People We Meet on Vacation. So it's also a romance one. It is more of friends to lovers. They were like friends, but they lost touch because something happened. And throughout the book, it's kind of like in the past and the present, which is really enjoyable. I honestly preferred this one over Beach Read, and I actually rated it 5-star. I'm going a bit faster because I realized I blabber a lot about the books when I said I wasn't gonna do a full review of each. So I read a classic, and after that I realized classics are not for me, but I'm still trying to figure it out. So I read Frankenstein. One knows what Frankenstein is about, but what I didn't know was how uneventful it kind of is. Like, I don't know, this book took me too long to read, and I wished I liked it because it is a classic, and I feel like a lot of people enjoy the classics for what they are, but I honestly rated it a 2-star. It's just not for me, but I did appreciate it for what it was. The Dinner List, which is written by Rebecca Surley, and honestly I didn't expect anything out of it, her life, but she can pick like 5 people to sit at a dinner table with, and you kind of hear stories. It's kind of like the past and the present because there's kind of a love story, and honestly I got so attached to the character and her relationship with others that it made me really emotional. It's not a sad book, but it's really like, it makes you reflect on your life, and it's not popular enough, so I recommend it greatly. I put it at a 5-star, and honestly it's really enjoyable. It's short and sweet, so it's not difficult to read. Alright, moving on. I was kind of in a slump at one point, and so I chose to read like a short essay instead of a big book, and I read The Evidence of the Affair by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I rated it a 3-star because honestly it wasn't that memorable. Like, it was in form of letters, I believe, and it was really enjoyable to read, but there was not anything specific about the story, I guess because of how short it was. And because it's the story of an affair, I couldn't really relate or connect with the characters, so that made me not put it higher. But it's still like very fast to read. It's, I think, only 86 pages, so I read it in like an hour and a half, and really enjoyable. I definitely recommend those types of essays / short books if you're in a reading slump, because it allows you to read something but not have too much pressure to like commit to a full book or a series. So that would be my advice. The next book I have read is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. Honestly, I picked up this book because it is kind of dark academia. There's like a murder investigation, kind of like thriller-ish, which is the type of genre of books that I enjoy reading. Honestly, was a 3-star for me, so I do recommend it, but let me read what I wrote. I love the concept and how the scenes and the story and how the main character was developed through the book, but I feel like the ending was a bit rushed, and in my opinion I was hoping for more. Some plot lines were not essential, especially with some side characters, and their roles were just to create misdirection in the plot of the story, and I feel like it could have been more. I've seen a lot of reviews about how because it's a man that wrote the story, the main character, which is a woman, is not that developed, but I still feel like that's not the main aspect of the story, so it didn't bother me too much. What bothered me more was how they like resolved the issue and how they ended the book, because it wasn't satisfying for how it was well written in the beginning, and at the end it just got so confusing. I'm still confused. So yeah, I do recommend it, but just enjoy the book for what it is and do not expect too much at the end. That's all I'm gonna say. Alright, hopefully the angle didn't change too much. I think I bumped my tripod. But the next book is Those People by Louise Candlish. I did it at a 3-star because I liked the fact that it was like a suburban family, like community, and then, but it was like, I'm trying to review it without saying too much, but technically there's like this guy that moves in and he kind of disrupts the whole neighborhood, which is like really those white suburban families. And I feel like the book had potential, which is a recurring thing in some books, especially like the murder mystery ones. I feel like it was very stereotypical of the new person coming in and being disrespectful. But also the ending, again, I feel like I wished it was more, like they could have added something, they could have like wrapped it up better. I don't know, I just feel like they just were like, okay, well, we need one person to have committed a crime, so let's just say it's that person. Like, it made actually like not a lot of sense, the ending, but I still feel like it's an enjoyable read, but you expect more. It's a lot of like the books that I rated 3 stars. This is why I rated them 3 stars. I just expected more at the end. To one of my favorite books of the year, which is One of Us is Lying. And I picked that up and I learned that after it was becoming a show while I was reading it. So I rushed to reading it, which I'm glad I did because I really enjoyed it. I put it a 4-star. It is part of sequel. I read the sequel in this year. But honestly, I loved how it started. I loved the characters. I fell in love with the friendship that was created through the characters. And I liked how it wasn't like too over the top, but still dramatic. I think we suspected every person, so it wasn't obvious who the murderer is. So yeah, if you didn't understand, it is a teen murder mystery, and I really enjoyed it. Enjoyed the characters, and I feel like more than the plot, the story is character driven, which is why it is written in different perspectives, because there are different characters, so you kind of see how each character thinks, right? So I was holding off. I made a review of the series, but I didn't post it because I didn't have enough to talk about, because I read so fast. That series, I like gobbled it up. It's so good. So the series is the Truly Devious series by Maureen Johnson. It is absolutely one of my favorite books, trilogy, whatever you call it. Each book is substantial and has enough of its own that's happening that you don't feel like one is boring. I feel like at one point all the books started to melt together because I read them one after the other without any break, which makes me kind of want to reread it. It is again a murder mystery giving me Hogwarts like vibe, like dark academia. I like the characters, but the story is about this one girl. She goes to the school for like a lot of like special people that have their own interests or like famous or whatever, and what she does is she comes to the school because she wants to investigate the murder that happened and like the kidnapping that happened years ago. I don't know if it makes sense. It's really a good story. I recommended 5 stars, like one of my favorites. 2 last books I have read are from the Darker Shade of Magic's, the Shade of Magic series. This series was phenomenal. I read the first one and the second one in 2021, but the third one I read in 2022. So if you're interested, I can do a big review on the series soon. If you're interested, so comment down below. And honestly, the first one is A Darker Shade of Magic, which this one I rated lower than the others because it's kind of like the world building. You kind of understand the characters, you understand the importance of magic or the loss of magics, you understand the different worlds and the fantastical approach to the book. And this is like the base, like the world builds itself, so you kind of have to go through it. The second book, oh my gosh, I fell in love with Lila, which is one of the main characters. She is so badass. I love her. And you kind of continue the story, but from the second book it's kind of like a few months later. From the first book it's a few months later, and there's kind of this battle festival to see who's the strongest magician, and I really enjoyed that one. For the third one I'll do a review if you guys want me to review the whole series, but I really recommend this series. It's the love between the characters and like the relationship. Woo! I wish it was more. Honestly, I wish they like made that V.E. Schwab wrote like a whole book about Lila and Kel, because I ship them so hard. I really enjoyed the series. If you didn't understand, I think it's one of my favorites also. Alright guys, so thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry it was all over the place. I've read the books throughout the year and some I mostly forgot and I don't remember every detail. I didn't want it to go too much into details again, but I just wanted to say what I was feeling, how I enjoyed the book, if I recommend it. If you have any more questions or suggestions, let me know. You can comment down below. If you have book recommendations, if you just want to talk. My goal this year is to read 50 books, so that's a big step compared to my 18 or 17 books I read in 2021. But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys really soon. I hope I can film more videos this year. And thank you so much for watching. You can find me on Instagram or TikTok. I will link them down below. Bye!